Now that we can drag our columns, let's give that same functionality to our tasks. Now, as you might expect, it's really just as simple as it was before. So we can nest these draggable components as much as we'd like. So let me copy this draggable here. Then inside of the item slot, where we're printing out each of the Trello board tasks, let's paste in that draggable component, and then we'll change out a few values here. All right, so now instead of vModel being columns, we want to take the tasks in each column. Also, for our group, I'll call this one tasks instead. The reason this group prop is important now is it differentiates this draggable from the columns draggable. And essentially what that means is we can't drag tasks into the columns list or the columns array or vice versa. Okay? If we were to name this columns, just like this one is named columns, then we will be able to drag tasks into the columns array, which is not what we want. We only want to drag tasks between the task array in the current column or task arrays of other columns. So that's actually one more advantage here, is because this draggable actually exists more than once, right? Because it exists for each column. Since we name each one of these instances of draggable with the group of task, that means we'll be able to drag between the different column task arrays. So that's what this group prop is all about. All right, let me leave the animation on here. I'll take off the drag handle for now so we can see it working quickly without having to add the handle. And the item key is still the ID, since our tasks have a unique ID, and we no longer need to style it here like we did the columns. Excellent. Let's take the Trello board task component, move it up into draggable, and I still need to provide the item slot. This time we'll rename element to task instead of column. And we'll type it as a task. Now it looks like I have a red squiggly line under here saying cannot find name task. That just means I need to import it here above. Awesome. So now let's move this Trello board task up into the item slot, remove the V4, which means we can also remove the key. I'll hit save, and over on the right hand side, let's see if things are working. We'll try to move this first task here, and sure enough, I'm able to order them within the backlog column. Awesome. Now let's try moving it to a brand new column. Great, that works as well. And I can drag them into any of these columns that I like. Okay, so we have one now in the backlog column, one in the second column, and one in the third column. Let's take a look and see what the data for this now looks like. If I open up my View Dev tools and come over here to the Trello board component, here you can see the columns. And sure enough, the task array for the first column is a length of 1, same for the second column, and same for the third column. If I were to drag, let's say, this fixed page nav task back to the first column, then in my data you would see that the second column array is now a length of 0, and the array length for the first column has been increased to 2. So yeah, we do have those tasks within the proper columns, in the data, and in the interface. This is awesome, and it was really pretty simple to do. Now, to make things consistent, let's also add the handle to our tasks. So we'll add the handle back in here with drag handle as the value. And then I'll open up my Trello board task component and use our drag handle component in there. Awesome. Here our drag handle is showing up on the side. Let's give it a little bit of padding on the right hand side to distinguish it from the text just a little. And I also don't like how the text wraps up underneath the drag handle. So I'll change my wrapper div here to display flex with the flex class, and then they'll show up side by side. Great. So now I can drag with the drag handle, but not anywhere else on the task.